What's good? What's good? What's good? People, traders, and dedicated gold chasers. Welcome back to another live video at the Modern Day Trader with your boy Marcy. And we're just here to chat a bit and just give you a little trade recap of this week so far and how the week's been going. Uh, and just taking you guys through my thought processes for certain trades. And everything as a whole. So, guys, without further ado, obviously, we're going to jump straight into let me share my screen, into my positions tab, and let's go into it, right? So, this week has been wonderful so far. As you guys can see, you're looking at my journal, 117 trades taken so far, total of 48.46%, right? Uh, and if I filter for this week particularly, let me see. If I filter from Sunday, you can see one trade taken, 100% win rate, 10R, right? And let me just jump straight into it, right? So with this particular trade, guys, with this particular trade, you really just need to understand how pound yen moves. And with that being said, pound yen moves in ways where it will go through periods of breakouts and periods of deeper pullbacks. And I think that's natural with any pair, but it's just understanding what happens within the market conditions, right? So in this month of September, we've seen pound yen have like tons of deeper corrections into double tops and double bottom areas or like point of interest areas. And yesterday, when I got to the markets, I saw that we had, and I'll show you guys, I'll take you guys through the trade, but I'll just run you through my process, like my thought processes. I saw that we had the daily and the 4H agreeing on pound yen, right? So the previous daily and the previous 4H had agreed. We then had 4H correlation. And when I went onto my Excel sheet, I saw that we had a 75% chance or 78% chance that we'd be able to determine the next 4H candle, right? Now, bear in mind that week 3 is not necessarily the best of weeks. So I was like exercising caution, right? Uh, and with that being said, I was anticipating that price action could push to the upside. We were bullish. The prior day was pretty bullish. We've taken out like highs from a 15-minute perspective, even from a 1 hour perspective, we had shifted structure, pushing to the upside. And all I had in mind was potential buys. Now, initially, I was looking at breakout levels from the 15-minute time frame, and I'll take you guys through that soon. The breakout levels, however, didn't really come or play out and didn't come to fruition. So what we had seen was the price action had pushed a bit to the upside. We then, right before London session, had seen a pretty steep push to the downside into my double bottom area. And with that being said, when we had that deep push to the downside and was a strong correction to the downside, I think automatically I was thinking we're either gonna shift like and push bearish, or we either respect this level, start shifting on the 1 minute, get a 15-minute confirmation, and then from there we should then be able to push to the upside. Now, ultimately, we after we pushed down, we respected our 15-minute structure. We flip bullish on the 1 minute time frame. We then closed bullish on the 15-minute candle, and I anticipated the price action should, in theory, continue to the upside. So yeah, just taking a look at my journal real quick, so you can see entry was around 936. We went long for continuations, 15-minute bounce. Entry was around 185,600. So entry was around 185,600, and we had 10 pip stops. And I think the rest was just history, bro. Like we had 10 pip stops out. The rest wasn't exactly history, but it was a hard trade in that you could like you could potentially like mentally get fucked over if you're not able to really just hold your positions from a perspective of like if you're not able to hold your positions, like there was a long time where price action just stayed in a range and you could have potentially been able to like just not uh basically not allow yourself to take the full profit of 10R, right? And a lot of people who do that. So with that being said, let me actually jump into the charts, right? So we're going into the charts. We're gonna go right there, right here. So this was the trade, guys, yesterday. So as I mentioned yesterday, right before 9, we had the push to the downside, or with London open, we had the push to the downside, but we held structure right here. We then had a push to the upside correlated with the 1 minute break of structure. And I will show you guys right here. Let me zoom in. So you can see that price action had a big push to the downside. We created a level in the market where we failed to break for some time, which is essentially a lower low, which then made this a lower high when price action made this new lower low. So we had the break of structure, template BOS. We then had a push to the upside, pull back, and I used this push to the upside right there and that as my stop loss area. And you can see that price action pushed to the upside, pulled back, and then gave me a break even. And then after that break even, we pretty much pushed to the upside. We never really came back to entry at any point. Now, there was mitigations of lower time frame points of interest. However, you can see we went into this range, and as I mentioned, this range could have potentially fucked with a lot of people's minds, but I just held and I told myself like we're going into CPI as long as I'm up it in profit, and I moved my stop, I think 2 pips into profit, just on the basis that we had already created this when the news had come out, right? And we broke above these areas here. So initially I thought, okay, that my stop should be protected below these lows. And so I moved my stop to take, or well, to stop loss, to break entry, and then it just pushed up, guys. Like it literally just pushed to the upside. And I think to me, like this is obviously a 10R. The targets was slightly above here, and the reason why the targets were slightly above there was the anticipation of a higher high being made in an uptrend. And yeah, guys, I think personally to me, this is one of my cleanest trades. We up 10R for the week, and I have some news. I'm not going to show you guys just because I don't want to show you guys my login details. I don't have two screens right now, but I will show you guys on my review this weekend. 10K account has been paused fully, which means challenge and verification has been paused because around 5% here, we took profit on the 10K and we passed that. With regards to the 100K, this trade, because there was a fire deal at work, I could only risk, I think what I basically did was I took the lowest lot size that I had on my lot size calculator page that I have every day, which is 30 pips basically. You can see that this is 10 pips. So for $750, I used the 30 pip lot size, which was I think 3 point something, and then my TP was 10 pips. So I only made essentially I risked 250 and I made 2,500, right? Which is not too bad, but if you think about it, like the from a perspective of like what I'm supposed to risk, which is 750, I could have made 7,500, 5,000 on the table. But I think to me, it's just about like finally turning the corner on the 100K account and just being able to like, without a shadow of a doubt, be able to just know that like I finally turned the corner and I got the win that I needed. And now it's just about like looking forward, continuing to do what we need to do, following the processes and our intentions and setting our intentions for the day, right? So now without further ado, let's just jump straight into our analysis for the day. So what you guys can see is that yesterday closed pretty bullish, right? So initially your intention should in theory be that we are going to push bullish, but you'll be able to see that the 4H from these areas here is pushing bearish, and it does have reason to do that. You can see that we came into this double top area right here, and I'll just make it a bit clearer for you guys. So we had a level in the market created and broke. We then had this being the new lower high. We had a new lower low, push down, uh, and then we had a lower high, and this right here. All of this is the push that created this low, right? So this area in the market right here is definitely a strong area from a higher time frame perspective, and you can see the price action had already bounced off from that area. So the only way to really enter trade today is to look over the 4H. So you can see that that one's pushing bearish too. We have a bearish candle there. That's four bearish candles. That's five bearish candles. That's six bearish candles. So we have 4H correlation, which speaks to sentiment, as I mentioned before. So the sentiment in the market is pretty bearish, and I think there's a huge chance that price action could push to the downside. Just bear in mind, guys, that there is news today, and you just need to be able to like hold yourself accountable. Just because there is at 8 a.m. This GBP or pound CPI year on year news, which is going to be quite big in my opinion. So there is going to be a big movement to this candle, dropping down into low time frames. What you guys can see is that we had shifted 15-minute structure out of this 4H double top, right? So we had the break of structure to the upside. We then had this being our last known higher low in the uptrend from a 15-minute perspective, which means essentially that we had a shift to the downside. So if I was to look for sells this morning after the 4H close, I'd be looking for sells below these areas, below the lower low for breakout entries, and then around here the for the double top area, right? Now, with that being said, on Monday I had analysis for shorts. Obviously, that was invalidated, and as you guys can see, uh, that essentially I never took shorts this week, right? I never took shorts, and the reason for that is when market structure shifts and market structure moves, you need to be able to adapt to that or just not trade. If you're not confident enough in taking the trade, just don't trade. There will come another trade throughout the week. It's fine, right? And that's just it, guys. Like you don't have to trade every single day. So just jumping back to the charts. Personally, I would like a pullback into the double top area where we could potentially see something somewhat like where is my drawing tool? Here we go. Something somewhat like this. Now I'm asking for quite a bit, but like something somewhat like that, and then maybe a little pullback, and then you can start taking it to the downside, right? However, if we do just push to the downside immediately, what you would want is something simply like that, a 15-minute close, and then you can anticipate that price action is pushing to the downside. Now, as I mentioned, there is news in London session, so I won't be trading London session. It just is what it is. I'll be hoping that London session can correct all the way into these areas here and then push to the downside. Just because if you take a look at it from a 15-minute perspective, if you just like get a trade out of this point into this point here with a 20 pip stop, you would have a 1 to 5, 1 to 6. So yeah, yeah, and if you have a lesser stop loss, you could get a higher TP. And I think from a 1 hour perspective, you could be targeting these lows just because if you go to the 1 hour, sorry, that's the 2 hour, you can see that these areas right here, I'd put it there in around 185 500 area should be a decent target as a midway for uh for these essentially corrections basically. Because even if you just like look at this this leg to the upside, this would roundabout be the 50% area, 50% to 62.1%, or 62.8, whatever that number is. So that's my plan for the day, guys. I hope that you guys essentially enjoyed this content. I hope you're enjoying the live videos, the live breakdowns of my trades. Yeah, we finally turned the corner on the 100k alpha capital, which I'm fucking chuffed about, to be honest with you guys. Turned the corner on the 100k alpha cap. We passed the 10k verification, which means we essentially a funded trader. I'm just waiting for my company's details to get verified at CIPC in South Africa, and then I can then apply uh, to FDMO. Now, just a quick heads up to everybody that's trading at FDMO, they don't allow for you to change your identity, quote unquote, as a person or as an individual. They don't allow you to change your identity. So once you're an individual or you a self-employed individual, like it doesn't really matter that you're gonna form a company later on. Their rules stipulate that you can't change your status basically as your identity status. Whatever you agree on at the start, you need to stick to that, right? And I'm hoping that this whole process could be done by the end of September. I'm hoping it could be done. But obviously, I need to wait for CIPC. Then I need to wait for FDMO after I send my details. So yeah, guys, it's going to be a wild run. So with that being said, if you're trading and you're in South Africa and you know that this is a long-term thing, I would suggest opening up a company, P2Y Ltd, private company, just because it allows for limited, like you can't pierce the corporate veil essentially, and it's also just what's the word that they use in company law? It's limited to limited liability. So they can't come after you for anything that happens in the company, right? As a director or as a shareholder, they can't come after you for anything. So you want to open up a company. In my opinion, you can do a sole prop, but like there's really no difference in like a sole prop and just being yourself. You're also gonna have, obviously in South Africa we have the sliding scale for individuals where like the more you earn, the more you get taxed. Whereas if you're in a company and you start making a lot of money, if you get 600k or 400k funded from FDMO, you won't have that sliding scale. You'll be taxed on 27% on your net profit. So yeah, yeah, guys, that's just a bit of like accounting that I'm thinking about. I'm not gonna give. This is by no means any financial advice, but I'm just saying this is what I'm personally doing and what I'm going about with my journey. Obviously, I've just become funded now. I've like need to sign my contract, but in order to do that, I need like all of my T's and C's crossed. And just knowing that like you can't change this, I just wanted to put it out there that like uh you essentially want your ducks in a row before you get there. So yeah, guys, I hope that you guys have a wonderful day. Anybody that's doing the verification on FDMO, remember, or any company to in that matter, because they're gonna issue you with an invoice and you're gonna have to record it as your sales, or it's gonna go into your revenue as an individual, and that's gonna fuck you over, bro. Like 100k could push you into a different tax bracket as a individual. Like 200k definitely pushes you into a different tax bracket. Now next thing you know, you're going from paying like 20 something percent to 30 something percent, which is mad, bro. Like I just don't understand that. But okay, it's the life we live, and we live in this country, so we need to abide by the rules of the law. SARS, bro. But yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope you guys have a profitable day. And yeah. Peace out, man.